Okay, three, two, one. Greetings and welcome to Hexed Countered. I'm Joe. It is a new month, and that means that it is time for the channel update, the monthly channel update. And I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time than I've done it in the past. That is largely because September wasn't a typical month for me. I had a vacation for a week, and at the very end of that vacation, I got COVID, and that lingered for longer than I thought it would. I've had COVID several times, but this was the worst that I've had it, I believe. And it kind of knocked me on my butt for a while. So I didn't get as much done by far as I wanted to. Therefore, I'm going to bypass the analytics. Not that they were bad. The analytics were actually decent. They were down as you would expect from August, where I was a lot more productive in terms of videos published. So the numbers weren't as great. But there were things that did well in September. And overall, the month was down, but not terribly so. I just don't feel like it's worth it to do full analytics package on it, because I'd also like to try and change the format up a little bit. And I can always look at September analytics when I do an update next month in November. So talking about October. Now, if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, or if you've looked into the back catalog, I did start the channel in 2022. This would be the third October that I've had. And in the previous two, I did something called Tanktoberfest, where I looked at games that featured, as you might gather, tanks. And so, all things armor and so on and so forth. I am going to do that again. I am a creature of habit. I like my themes. Tanktoberfest for me is a lot of fun. And so we will be featuring tanks this month. Now, you might wonder about some of the things I didn't get to in September, such as Save South Vietnam, which was going to be the next Sunday solo game. And it will still be a solo Sunday game, but I'm going to bump it back to November. So never fear. I've been emailing with Bob Fanoof, the designer of the game and the publisher of the game, to reassure him that it is going to get done. I am going to do a playthrough, just playing around with the game a little bit. It is a good game, and I definitely want to feature it on the channel, and I will do so in November. So get back to October. I have a theme inside a theme is what I'd like to do. So Tanktoberfest is obviously about armor. But armor has obviously been a big part of war or combat, war games in the Second World War, of course. And then anything after that, the tanks really came into their own in the Second World War. There were some in the First World War, primarily as infantry support. I'm probably preaching to the choir. I'm sure you guys know all this already. But in the Second World War, that's when they really kind of came into their own, and the whole combined arms thing became a thing. So there are a lot of different things you can do armor-wise. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do here in this case is something focused on the battles in North Africa. I have several games, all of which feature armor, both from a tactical level all the way up to an operational level. And I have several games in mind. I'm not going to spoil the surprise and say what they are, which leaves me some flexibility as well in case something falls through the cracks. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. I have several games. I plan on doing at least 3. Again, time permitting, who knows what'll happen. I do have another trip this month. I might have a second trip at the end of the month. So as always, life and duty calls occasionally in terms of my job and my family. That eats into my wargaming time, and that eats into my video time as well. So that is the plan for October. We will have Tanktoberfest, so you have that to look forward to if you are a fan of Tanktoberfest, and I hope you are. There will be several games, hopefully 3, maybe 4, if I'm really lucky and things go really well. I can't make any promises. Now, November, I wanted to talk about November a little bit as well. So I had in my head when I was thinking, because I think ahead, I try to think ahead and make a plan, believe it or not. And I was thinking about, what do I want to do in November? And I had 2 ideas. One was what I called No Powder November, which would be war games featuring medieval combat and going back to ancients. So anything 13th century-ish or so and earlier. Knights, Men of Iron would probably be something that would be featured in something like that, as well as some of your great battles of history games, Alexander or Caesar or Cataphract, or any of that stuff like that would all fit within that genre. Anything that wasn't involving rifles and cannons and things like that. So that's one thing. The other thing I was thinking about, because of the November, is to do games on Nam or Vietnam, the Vietnam War. I have several games that would also tie in nicely with Save South Vietnam. So I could do that as part of that if I did opt to go with a Vietnam November or November in Nam or something like that. Feel free to suggest a name if you can think of one. But that would be the other thing. So comment wise, if you want to comment, if you've watched this far in and you're still around and you're still listening to me babble away, and you say, hey, Joe, I would prefer to see No Powder November, or Joe, I'd prefer to see November in Nam, let me know. I'll take that into account. I have, the better part of a month to make a final decision, and I have the games one way or the other. And all of those games are, planned to get on the channel at some point. So I'm not, saying you want No Powder November does not mean I won't do the Vietnam stuff. The Vietnam stuff's going to get done regardless. Just not this coming November. It'll be down the road a little bit. Beyond that, December, I don't know. I have a couple things in mind, but nothing concrete yet, or anything that I want to put out there for you guys yet. So that's kind of what the plan is going forward. Now, I know usually I do, the top 10 videos for September, the top, what the numbers were, how many subscribers. All of those I will probably look at again next month, or maybe mid-month. Depending on how things go, I may want to stick an analytics kind of video on here, maybe. I don't know. Because I am a creature of habit, and that's how I've been doing it. And it's like, well, you didn't do it this time. And, change is good, but change is also sometimes difficult. I'm not sure if you guys like that part of it, or if you're more interested in the what's coming up part of it. But this time it's all about what's coming up. So Tanktoberfest this month, that's the feature. Game set in North Africa. And if I have time, I might squeeze something else in from something else, because I have something else in mind. Again, it's going to depend on time. But that's the main thing for this month. Tanktoberfest, back again. Tanktoberfest 2024. Sand in your eye. I don't know. It's something like that. So I've babbled on long enough. So if you have a thought on the November options, No Powder, Nam, let me know which one you think would be better, and I'll take it into account. I can't promise. This isn't a vote. I'm not taking a poll. Just let me know what you guys think, and I'll take it into account. That's all I'm saying. So for now, that's going to do it. Like I said, I have babbled on far too long. Once I get going, it's hard to stop me, but that's going to do it for now. So until next time, I'm Joe. This is the Hexed Countered channel. I'm glad to be back at it. But until next time, happy gaming.